Welcome to our Shield of the Sun video. This is Vince McMahon, part 2. Nasty fights and ugly acts of sabotage and murder took place behind the scenes during this time of expanding that the Illuminati and the media covered up. Acts also like wrestlers getting jumped or being found dead, or their houses or car were blown up, or they were set up for car accidents, plane accidents, or their family members were attacked or threatened, or they were set up for drug or prostitution arrests. Sadly, the list goes on regarding the sadistic things they did to each other to promote wrestling, and Vince was the worst of them, and through Satan's chosen megastar, Hulk Hogan and the gang, the WWF destroyed their competition in all kinds of ways, and through increased mainstream exposure, TV ratings, house show gates reaching record-breaking numbers, soon they were sweeping down the competition, and through the MTV promoted, and Hollywood promoted of the product called WrestleMania, Vince McMahon would create an American tradition, and he would be king of the wrestling world, and a powerful media spellbinder, sharing his hype tactics with the media to help them capture people's minds while they helped them to promote and air his products. Much of this power was welded over the cable companies, and then eventually the NBC network through the creation of Saturday Night Main Event. In the meantime as well, Vince continued to have the mafia to sell drugs and prostitutes to his wrestlers, and to allow and help the CIA to mind control them and enhance them. Many wrestlers and employees throughout the years under Vince's ownership have been physically, mentally, and sexually abused. Not even announcers or referees are spared. Not even the very children of Vince are spared either. For Shane and Stephanie were both satanically mind controlled and abused in this fashion by their own father and mother. Vince's WWF at the time became an official, national, and eventually worldwide mainstream promotion when on March 31st, 1985, they introduced the heavily promoted event WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden. The bitter rival territory promoters were not done in yet, and the traditionalists tried several times to sabotage the event, but all their efforts failed and were barely noticed, as WrestleMania became an undisputed success, as it was first aired on a cable network, which was closed-circuit TV at the time, and it was the most rated event on the cable network throughout the U.S. MTV had a great hand in promoting WrestleMania. Vince is also a Freemason, and a 33rd degree one he became. He joined the Masons through his father, and he became very involved with them, establishing Hollywood connections through them, as the Masons work for the Illuminati. They are hand in glove. The Freemasons started up MTV, and Vince's Mason brothers among MTV helped Vince to promote WrestleMania to the millions and millions of kids, preteens, teenagers all across America, being called the MTV generation, and they were the prime reason WrestleMania was successful. The product was not originally sold to the adults. It was sold to the kids, and it still is, and those kids of yesterday became adults that are still fans. The Hollywood artists, many being Masons themselves, also helped Vince for the Illuminati to establish WrestleMania, and even Mason sports stars that Vince had past connections with also helped him, like Muhammad Ali, Billy Martin, and many others, including pop singer Cyndi Lauper. MTV hyped WrestleMania through many street and studio promotion interviews with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, the star of the hugely popular A-Team television series at the time. A lot of staged events and happenings took place at this time that fueled the hype, like Hogan and Mr. T taking down a street mugger, which was staged, and Hogan choking out a TV host when he tried to call wrestling fake was in fact real. Wrestlers have been known to viciously attack anyone, even at any time, and especially at that time, who tried to call wrestling fake. Some reporters have even turned up missing over it. The success of WrestleMania made Hulk Hogan a pop culture icon and child role model, while the public has no idea he is a bisexual pervert and cocaine addict who sucks blood off of other people's talents and emotions, and he takes advantage of everyone he encounters sooner or later, and he has sexually assaulted his own children, an Illuminati tradition. He is also demon-possessed, and he is a sorcerer who uses demons to energize his performance, which energizes the crowd. Satan, because he chose him greatly, used Hulk Hogan in spreading this evil New Age art form to poison the people into violent emotional behavior, particularly to corrupt the youth. Satan has attached to Hulk Hogan. every time he goes to the ring to perform a vast host of his most blinding and enchanting spirits to mesmerize you to what Hulk Hogan does in the ring, even if it's evil. This effect was also on the other wrestlers, who were demon-possessed as well, like Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, Macho Man, The Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, and the list goes on and on, of the wrestlers Satan corrupted to do his bidding. Vince McMahon initiated a brand new revenue stream called the pay-per-view market, when he began to market his products in pay-per-view, which then made cable pay-per-view a huge success and opened doors for other pay-per-view showings. Because of the success of the pay-per-view specials and cable shows and the toys, the WWF quickly became a multi-million-dollar empire, and NBC gave them a Saturday morning cartoon show based on their characters, and they created Saturday night's main event, which became, through several periodical airings, very highly rated even for its time slot. Millions and millions of people watched it. In 1987, Vince's company made sports and indoor attendance history when he drew in 93,173 fans into the Pontiac Silverdome, which the numbers could have been higher than that, for WrestleMania 3, which made WrestleMania on par with the Super Bowl, when people gathered to the much media-hyped match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. To understand the ruthlessness of Vince McMahon is to understand some of the few things he did, and this is just a few compared to all the things this dragon of a man has done. In the 1980s, the WWF hired the first female referee in history, whose ring name was Rita Marie. On July 16, 1986, while riding in a limousine with Vince McMahon, Vince wanted her to perform oral sex on him, but she refused, and when she did, Vince began to yell at her to do it, and when she still refused, Vince slapped her and pulled her down to the floor of the limousine, and he brutally raped her. She was not the first. Vince has sexually assaulted or raped his female employees working behind the scenes. Some are even female employees he has done this to, females he has encountered as staff employees in other places, or women he meets at hidden society parties. Vince's employees, his main men, who are former wrestlers and Masons, who work behind the scenes like Pat Patterson, have raped and taken advantage of young, up-and-coming male wrestlers and male employees working as announcers or interview men, etc. Homosexuality and locker room rapes have been going on at the WWF, WWE for a long time, and Vince himself has participated in a few of them, and even prostitutes his male wrestlers to high society wives or gay men, many being politicians. That is how the Ultimate Warrior was introduced to the Republican Party, and how he became champion at WrestleMania 6. Warrior was passed around by these sadistic men of the WWE, and even to women, as a price for his rise to fame, which this is the real reason why he's so mentally unsound now. Warrior one time was forced to participate in an orgy with Vince and Linda, and far more sicker things than that. Vince's trial, when he was accused of selling steroids to his wrestlers and bodybuilders of his former WBF, which was a failed promotion, came as a result that the Illuminati found out that Vince withheld money from them, and so they sought to punish him with a scare tactic to warn him off of trying to revolt on them by withholding money from them. During the trial, Hulk Hogan was used by the Illuminati to punish Vince by testifying against him. The experience deeply humbled Vince, and he also felt completely betrayed by Hogan, who ratted him out to the Illuminati regarding the money. Hogan turned on Vince when Vince told him that he was fading out and that it was time for him to pass the torch to another, in which they had Bret Hart in mind as taking the torch. Hogan was bitter by that, and so he turned on Vince by ratting him out to Illuminati agents, who then turned on Vince and allowed a steroid scandal to fall upon him. This ends our video for part 2.